parkour in Thailand is still in a state of infancy in a way. It definitely has its own kind of flavor, sets it apart from other communities. It has its own style, so it makes it really interesting. There's this kind of a playful innocence to it that you see on a lot of playgrounds and play structures that you may have experienced growing up. It's really more about playing through the space. What does parkour mean to you?
ความหมายปาร์คูร์สำหรับผมครับคือทำให้ผมรู้จักคำว่าเพื่อนทำให้ผมรู้จักคำว่าแข็งแรงทำให้ผมรู้จักคำว่ามิตรภาพครับและก็ครอบครัว
There are a number of ways to train parkour. You can do it in a more organized fashion. You can warm up with a leader, which is more of like a hierarchical structure. You can splinter off into separate groups that are more of your style. You can go solo and work on your own thing. But here it's definitely more of a incubator for play, really. And that's kind of what sets it apart. It's all about play here. The tracers, or practitioners of parkour, set up and reveal challenges in this one tight space to see if other people can complete them, and not from a place of I can do this and you can't, but more of a I can do this and can you sort of a perspective, which I think creates a wonderful attitude for this space. The basic history of parkour starts with a man named David Bell in Nice, France in the 1980s, developing the philosophy and some of the training methods of parkour. He went around the suburbs of Nice, France, testing his body, seeing what he could do. Could he jump over this? Could he balance on that, etc. He met up with some friends, created a group. They all kind of went out and hung out and trained their bodies together. They did that for a while. They eventually kind of brought it to England, where they rebranded it free running because they didn't think the Brits could pronounce Pakour correctly. And then there came some arguments between the group members. Basically, parkour was supposed to be more about purpose and efficiency and keeping your body strong and training your body to be useful. And then the other argument was that free running should be more about complete freedom and acrobatic moves, flips, and crazier things like that. And of course, after a couple documentaries and the explosion of the internet, the popularity of parkour skyrocketed, and the online community still today is pretty solid on the fact that parkour and free running should be different. However, there are still people that believe that parkour and free running should be exactly the same, shouldn't be worried about as in terms of difference. The beautiful thing about this place is that it kind of all comes together. There doesn't seem to be a lot of fighting about that. Everybody kind of just plays here in harmony, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. What role do you think parkour can play in Thai society?
โอเคผมคิดว่าบทบาทสังคมในไทยนะครับมันเพิ่มขึ้นทีละนิดทีละน้อยครับเพราะว่าตอนแรกๆเนี่ยที่ผมเล่นเนี่ยคือคนส่วนน้อยเล่นมีคนเล่นส่วนน้อยมากแต่ตอนนี้คนเริ่มพัฒนาขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆแล้วเพื่อที่จะเหมือนกับต่างประเทศที่เขาค่อยๆบูมกีฬาเอ็กซ์ตรีมหลายๆอย่าง เหมือนในไทยครับ
When a lot of people think about parkour in Thailand, they think about Team Farang or Team Palang, if you speak Thai. Basically, Palang means foreigner, and Team Palang kind of capitalized on that and ran around Bangkok doing some amazing videos, posted them online, and then became internet famous. So if you've looked up parkour in Thailand before, even a year or a couple months ago, most of it would probably be Team Farang. But that is slowly changing. So how does your family feel about you training parkour?
ตอนแรกพ่อแม่ก็ห้ามไม่ให้มาเล่นกันแล้วก็เกิดอุบัติเหตุแล้วคนรอบตัวก็บอกว่าเลิกเล่นเถอะอะไรอย่างนี้แต่ผมก็แบบไม่เชื่อฟังก็มาเล่นไปเรื่อยๆแล้วพอพ่อแม่เห็นคลิปเขาก็ดีใจเขาก็เลยปล่อยให้มาเล่นทุกวัน
It's really nice that people aren't jaded to it. In the States, you say you do parkour, they'll immediately expect you to do a backflip and expect that you'll be able to do it. But here there's really no expectations of anyone to be able to do anything. It's kind of a bring your own moves, your own skill, your own kind of style. The people here in Thailand with regards to parkour seem to be much more respectful and quiet when they watch it. Even the policemen, a couple of policemen that I've encountered, tend to wait for me to complete the movement before they come and try to talk to me and tell me that I may or may not be doing it, or should not be doing it. It's interesting. How does your generation, close friends and peers feel about you training parkour?
ปัญหารอบข้างเกี่ยวกับกีฬาปากัวก็มีเพื่อนๆน้องๆก็ชอบถามมาว่ากีฬานี้เล่นไปทำไมเล่นไปแล้วก็เจ็บตัวเล่นไปก็มีแต่แผลเล่นไปแล้วได้อะไรคือผมอยากจะบอกว่ากีฬาปากัวมันทำให้เรากล้าที่จะตัดสินใจกล้าที่จะเผชิญหน้ากับทุกสถานการณ์เพราะเวลาที่เราเล่นอยู่เวลาที่เรากระโดดข้ามสิ่งกีดขวางแล้วถ้าเกิดเราหยุดใจเราไม่นิ่งไม่มีสติมันก็จะทำให้เราพลาดได้
Also here it's just so fresh. People still haven't been bombarded with parkour and free running in the media like you would in the West. It slips under the surface a lot because we take it for granted with all of the movies and stunt work and TV shows that feature it. Again, we take it for granted. But the interesting thing about Thailand is that a lot of the Thais haven't seen it. And even though they haven't seen it, they're not really fazed by it. You'll see guys literally that come here every single day to sit on those benches over there and just kind of watch what it is that we're doing. And it's a very interesting sight to see. If you look at some of the cameras that some of these guys bring out, they're not bringing out your Canon 5Ds, they're not bringing out your GoPro Hero 3s, they're not bringing out some fancy camera with multiple lenses. These guys are bringing out cameras that we might have used 5 years ago that aren't nearly as high quality. It's interesting to see them filming with the same enthusiasm that with those cameras that I did when I was only using those cameras. I imagine the lack of equipment that the Thais can afford here probably has something to do with the fact that it took them a fair amount of time to get that sort of media exposure.